All right, Panther Lair, let's talk about the zoom action that the Pittsburgh Panthers have been using through the first 4 games of their season. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I talked about this last season, and that's because the Pittsburgh Panthers were using it a lot more last season. So I am going to spend a little bit of time doing a quick overview of that. But I also want to dive into where the Pittsburgh Panthers have taken it this season. Are there any new wrinkles? Are there any new reads or responsibilities? Those types of things. So I really want to just jump into it. Let's go. So the first clip we're going to look at is from the very first game. Now, the Pittsburgh Panthers used zoom action early in the season last year. If you look at my breakdown from the West Virginia game, which I believe was the second game of the season, they went to it then, and they actually went to a very similar look in the game against NC-A&T. So as this clip unfolds, you're going to see they're going to get into a 5-out look. Now, they did this a lot. They pretty much kind of tell which side they're going to go, but in theory, you can go to either side here. It's basically what's going to happen is Carrington is going to become the screener, and then Jeffress is going to have the option to run around 2 screens because Guillermo is going to become a screener for a DHO. Now, what that does, the dribble handoff, is it creates large gaps for the player to attack the basket. What's unique here is that Jeffress is going to be the player receiving this, and I don't think that Will has taken too many dribbles, especially anything towards self-creation so far. So this is kind of one of their masking uses. So what's going to actually happen here, and again, this happened last year against the Mountaineers, is as Guillermo starts to dribble this way and Carrington sets the screen for Jeffress, Jeffress is just going to cut baseline. And I think the read here is ideally Guillermo or Jorge is holding his man a little bit tighter, and there should be a nice passing window in here for Jeffress, and then Carrington is going to set the screen and then just kind of flare off of it. So the read is entirely on Guillermo here, and he's done a pretty good job of that through the first 4 games. So you'll see here, Jeffress does a good job feinting, like, hey, I'm going to maybe use this screen, cuts baseline, but Carrington's defender sags off here. So he sees the zoom is coming, so he sags off and it takes this away, but what's going to happen is Jeffress's defender is going to recover to Jeffress, and this is going to allow Carrington to kind of free himself, a little flare, and makes the nice 3. So this is going to be later in the game, same type of situation, except Lowe is the screener. Jeffress is still over here in the corner. He's going to maybe use the ball screens. This time he comes off the screens, but you'll see here again, the read is entirely Guillermo's here, and you'll see that Lowe's defender now has his back to the ball, which is not really advised, and by the time he figures it out, Guillermo just makes a nice drive and makes the layup. So you see how Guillermo and Jorge is also in this clip, and then I think we'll have another set of videos that involves Federico. A lot of reads are on the bigs this year. They were last year too, but a lot of times it was Federico, who's a little bit more limited in terms of his versatility that far away from the basket, so you kind of see this is a little bit of where the Twins have grown. So move on to this next clip, and this is going to also be Guillermo, and this is their most recent game against the Jacksonville Dolphins. Now this time Carrington is going to be the player who's ideally going to use the screens. So as we see how that plays out, this involves the other thing. So this is going to be Chicago, and you're kind of going to know that right away because as this dribble happens, the closest screener to the ball immediately rolls, and then the player that could have been using the double ball screens, he is going, well, off ball screen, then into a ball screen DHO. He is going to just flare off of this. And this is a pretty good read. I think this player gets stuck trying to figuring out what they want to do because this is Guillermo's man or Jorge's man, and now he's like, well, I tried to take this away. This isn't going to happen. And so Bub's initial defender is kind of a little uncertain, so he goes with Jorge. And nice catch and shoot 3 for Carrington. Okay, so this last one here is going to be with Jorge as the initiator as this plays out. So you see he's going to be at the top. Here we get our 5-out look. This is going to involve Lowe, Hewitt, and Jorge. Now this one too. So this is going to be, hey, I'm going to feint that I'm going to use the off-ball screen, first screen, and then get into the DHO ball screen. But this time you see that his defender here in the corner holds him just an extra beat, and that allows the nice pass from Jorge and the cut layup. So you can see when it comes to this version of Zoom, that pretty much is initiated by the 5-man in both of these instances, that there's a lot of responsibility here when it's the twins, it appears. And we'll just see how that continues to evolve. But through 4 games, they seem to be making really good reads out of this situation, and I expect that to continue.